already going live.
Yes. So we are live on YouTube. Going live on Facebook. We are live on Facebook, and now we're gonna be live also on Instagram.
Oops, I just said a bad word that I shouldn't say live.
We are getting live on every device, including Instagram. 1 second. And I think like this, we're gonna be live. Go live.
Yeah, we are live everywhere.
We are live everywhere. Amazing. I think we are all here. Yes. I'm gonna move this here so we can see the chat. And we are ready to go. So it's wonderful to be here. We are live as every time on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We're actually doing double Instagram today. Let's see that everything is working because also YouTube is working. That is normally not the case. So we are really happy to be here. This is our second live since the launch and seventh live since we unveiled the idea of now. We're really happy to be here. We have wonderful updates, and we actually come from a wonderful call, right, Colombe?
Yeah. So we're going to discuss all of this, but we basically just got out a few minutes ago of a call with all local campaigners we had so far. So we had more than 12 people from all continents joining in to tell us more about what they've been doing, get to know each other. They were exchanging best practices and we're planning future actions. So it's really great to see that. We see so much motivation. It's amazing. And we see local teams being built up all over the world. So to tell you a bit what we're going to be discussing in this live, we'll start with a quick intro and recap on what Now is for those that never came before. And then we'll talk about Now in numbers. So where we are almost a month after the launch. So where we are in terms of growth, in terms of local teams, where we are in the world and so on. And then we'll talk about the two campaigns. The campaign we already launched, so the Global Climate Emergency, and the campaign that will launch in a month and a half on women's rights. And then we'll tell you more about how to get involved. And as always, please don't hesitate to ask any question at any stage. We're monitoring YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
Which is a huge challenge, but we're going to do our best.
So we might be a bit slow in answering, but we're there to do that. Cool. It sounds amazing, I know. So we'll get started. I'll get to tell you a bit more about Now, and Andrea will take the Now in numbers part.
Can't wait.
I know, I'm so excited. So for those of you that don't know, Now is a global movement that we launched a month ago almost, with the idea that, there are some global issues across the world. Climate change is the obvious one, but you have lots of other problems that cross borders, like fiscal justice, like human rights, and global health epidemics and so on. And they are often not being dealt with adequately by governments just because of national interests and the fact that national governments operate at national level, and those problems are global. And so we created Now with the idea that we need to unite across borders as people. So, you and us as people, we get to participate, to become active, and to change legislations across the world to solve those global challenges. So we launched Now 29 days ago. To
be precise.
To be super precise. And are now in over 77 countries. But I'll let Andrea tell you more about this.
Yeah, so exciting and super new movement. And despite the fact that we have little resources and we are fighting to make Now grow, in the first month, less than the first month, as Colombe said, we already have members in 77 countries. That means they actually now has a presence in every continent of the world. And in many countries, actually, we have many members. So obviously Europe was easier at the beginning because we had already a network there. But now we have a really strong presence growing in Africa that we're extremely proud about. We're also working hard on the Americas, and Asia is following. So we really created already a global movement. Thanks to you, thanks to everyone that's participated and shared our messages, and we are really, really happy about that. And to go even more concretely, so we have members from every corner of the world, and we are activating local teams because basically we believe it's our theory of change, if you allow me to say, that we have to create local teams to be really close to people, really close to local problems, and try to solve those local problems in a global perspective. And our first 14 teams, I wrote them down because if not, I will forget, are really cool. So we have, starting from the first one are Paris, Berlin, Milan, Cologne, Freiburg. So we have 3 in Germany, 3 in Italy, Milan, Bologna, and Palermo. Then we have Paris in France. We have Dallas in the United States of America. We have Nairobi in Kenya. There is the super active team that we mentioned before. We have Brussels in Belgium. We are starting to develop a team in Croatia between Split and Zagreb, and maybe even beyond. We have a special task force on that. We just opened today Geneva in Switzerland, so we're extremely proud of that. And now we are working on Uppsala, Sweden, and many other teams across the world, including Ghana, Mauritius, Costa Rica, Canada, and so on. So we are really branching out everywhere. And when we mention local teams, is because those local teams already have active volunteers organizing activities, doing events, collecting signatures, and really pushing forward the campaign. So we envision that in next weeks we're going to have teams everywhere in the world, like really real presence. And today we come from just half an hour ago from the first local campaigners call. So a call with campaigners from everywhere in the world to discuss how to advance our campaigns and how to structure our work. It was really cool. It was really motivating, I must say.
It was amazing to see.
And I see some of them, they are not yet sick of us, and they're here following us. And so it was really, really good.
And maybe in the future, so we hope that you'll also have some of them doing those live Q&As every 2 weeks, so you get to meet some other people apart from Andrea and I, from all over the world, who will be able to tell you more about their local activities, what they're doing, the challenges they're facing, and all of their future plans.
Absolutely. And having said that, other updates on number, I mean, that's it. So my call for action to you is, first of all, join our events. They are both on our Facebook page and our website. So you're going to see there is a list of events. For example, this Saturday, we're going to be in Brussels collecting signatures. Then there's going to be an event in Milan, in London, and so on. So join us, because we need to, first of all, to get to know you, and we hope to have more volunteers. And then if you know people, if you yourself, or if you know people, they're interested in being active in a movement like ours, so a global movement, is the right time. Because right now we are still managing to onboard teams ourselves. In the future, it's going to be tougher. So like, we personally would really love to speak with those that are interested in jumping on. So if you do it now, even better.
Exactly. So as you see, we're quite busy. We have already teams across the world, and the campaigns are moving forward. And so we thought that it would be a cool moment to tell you more about the campaigns. So we already got through the lives a few questions on the Global Climate Emergency Campaign, which is the first campaign we launched at the same time than the movement. But just to keep the suspense going a bit, we will start by telling you more about the Women's Rights Campaign. So the Women's Rights Campaign is the campaign we plan on launching on March 8th for International Women's Day. So we've been working for the last couple of weeks with activists from all continents, with women's rights advocates, and with members to shape it. And to be completely frank, we've been going a lot back and forth for a reason that is actually quite sad. It's the fact that there are so many women's rights issues, and that every time we found one, we're like, oh, but what about this one? Oh, what about this one? Oh, but this needs to be done as well. And for every issue, we're thinking of underlying issues we needed to tackle as well, and how to do it across the world. Sorry. And we couldn't really find a way to prioritize until we came up with this solution. We're going to go for representation of women in politics. So we are going to try to advance laws across the world to make sure that parliaments are representative, so that we have in parliaments 50% of the parliament that is women. And this is for a simple reason. One, it's a problem in literally almost every country in the world. Women are underrepresented. And second, it's one of the root causes of gender inequality. So from the moment we have representation, issues of discrimination, violence, and so on linked to women will be able to be dealt with in a systematic manner. And unless we have this, we'll have to launch campaigns on every topic constantly. And there are already a lot of organizations doing it, but change is not happening fast enough. We keep on seeing those numbers by, for example, the World Economic Forum explaining that we won't reach gender equality for another 200 years. I'm 25. First of all, I won't be alive. And second, I want to see gender equality in my lifetime. And everyone agrees that one of the root causes is representation. So we want to tackle this. We want to make sure women are equally represented, and that as a result, we go towards a more equal and fair society. So we're very, very excited about this campaign. It could change an enormous amount of things. And we are planning more the details. So we're still in the process, but we're thinking of having a few target countries. So the ones where we want to spend more energy on because of the impact for change.
Yes.
So as we said in previous slides, we're looking at various tools to campaign and to see what actually impact change. And in March, we want to try referendums. So in a few countries in the world, citizens can call for referendums. So they collect signatures, and then they get the government to call on a vote, and people can vote on an issue. And it's the case also in Colombia, in Hungary, in Croatia, in Ecuador, in Switzerland.
Yes.
And so we're looking at all of those countries and speaking with the members of those countries, speaking with local organizations and so on, to try to launch a referendum in those countries and beyond on ensuring equal representation. So it's very exciting. It could actually change, billions of lives. So it's incredible. But we won't, and then I'm done with this topic, I promise. I get very excited, so I can't.
It's a very cool topic.
It's also a very important one. But so we won't stop only at countries that have referendum laws. We'll just focus on them to see how easy or hard and what's the potential for change. However, we'll go beyond. So we're building tools on our website for people to be able to email their representatives to ask for change. We'll also consider lots of other ways of campaigning across the world. So for example, in the call we were on before, someone was talking, a local campaigner was talking about the point of education and on passing laws around education and equal access and so on. So this campaign will become many different things and based on what local campaigners want to do. But it's really an important one, so I encourage you to join if you are interested in gender equality, which concerns us all.
You better join. If not, it shows that you're not interested.
And to make sure that we can actually, in fact, change this way.
Yeah, so this is our second campaign, Gender Alternate and Balanced List for Electoral Races, and it's super important for us. And let's now move to the first campaign. There's actually the one that you probably know better because it's already active. There is our campaign to demand that the United Nations Security Council declares a global climate emergency. And this is a campaign we started our movement with. It's a campaign that we strongly believe into and also that fully embodies what we are doing. It's a global demand to a global body that actually has binding powers on all our countries, all the countries that we live in. What are we doing? So we passed our first milestone. There was happened like 5 days ago, I think. Woo! And basically, we received support from more than 70 countries. So we wrote a little nice letter, strongly worded but politely. Strongly worded. Then we sent to 15 governments. The 15 governments sitting in the United Nations Security Council as of now for 2020. And we basically in this letter, we asked, look, we had this idea. We had a lot of people interested in pushing forward. Now please table it for discussion in the United Nations Security Council. Surprise, surprise, one government answered in less than 24 hours. And this government is the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. There is a really small and beautiful island in the Caribbean Sea, if I'm not mistaken, that obviously as an island nation is really close to the global emergency topic. And so we believe we're going to be able to start working with them really soon. We actually, sorry,
Yeah,
what
no,
you
we're
were
just
saying?
waiting. So they explain that they're acknowledging requests and they'll get back to us soon, which is very exciting because for the UN, we need someone to bring it forward and to table the request. So to already have, a government that might be doing it at one point is quite amazing.
Exactly. And to do so, so basically we send these letters, but we know that many countries will ignore us. It's the game. They have other things to think about it. They don't want to be annoyed. And so what we're going to do is we're going to annoy them a lot. How? Because we are still a small movement. Obviously, we just started. So we created a tool on our website where basically each one of us will be able to press a button and send an email to the prime minister of the government that is chairing the Security Council. This changes every month. And from the 1st of February, Belgium, the country actually where we're streaming from, is the chair of the Security Council. So from the 1st of February, we are going to be able to contact. Sorry, there's a little interference. It's okay. I think there's some interference. You're gonna be able to email together with us the United Nations presidency of the Security Council. There is the Prime Minister of Belgium to ask for them to table our request. So get ready on the 1st of February to press buttons from your digital activism, and let's bomb the prime minister with request, because we really think that, for example, Belgium could be friendly to the request if they would bother to actually consider it. And so let's make sure that they bother. And so from the 1st of January, I'm going to be collecting signatures for that purpose. Every signature is an email.
Yeah, so I see a few questions on the topic. So yes, they responded that they're looking at our request, which obviously is not an acknowledgement that they'll, try to push the Security Council to declare a global climate emergency. But it's a very important first step. And it shows that just by sending this, and by explaining that we have people from over 70 countries that are requesting this because it concerns us all, even a small country gets to be able to put it on the agenda of international democracy and politics. So it's very, very cool. But we want to make sure that others respond as well, and not only respond, but that they actually take action. And this is why, as Andrea mentioned, a petition is being sent into an email, the Prime Minister of Belgium first, but then every country, it changes every month, that sits on the Security Council to make sure that they can't actually ignore us, but that they have to bring this forward. And just so you know, this will still count towards the petition, the number of signatures. So every email will be a signature added. So we'll keep on growing it across the world to show that people across the world want change and that they want it now.
Exactly. So as once more, get ready to email the Prime Minister of Belgium. We'll do it all together. After Belgium, we got China in March. We believe it's going to be really difficult to contact China simply because there are not many contacts online. And then we have the Dominican Republic in April, that actually is more friendly towards the topic. So we see a lot of potential here. Like, we're not shooting at the moon anymore. We're actually trying to advance a campaign that can impact change. Obviously, as we said many times, you're going to have to deal with the problems of vetoes in the Security Council. But let's take it a step at a time. Let's start ensuring that actually the Security Council discuss our demands. That would be already amazing.
And it's really great to see that already we show that by going beyond borders, we get to influence change. So it's not anymore just, like a group of people uniting beyond borders, but it carries a huge weight when you have people from over 70 countries who go and say, okay, now you have to tackle this. Clearly, countries, at least some, care enough.
We have a good question from Absel97. Basically asking, but if the UN actually decided there is an emergency, are countries, let's say, have countries,
do they have to abide?
Exactly, I couldn't find the right word.
So what we're doing is not just to have an empty declaration of emergency, which we've seen some across the world, and then nothing happening. there's a special mechanism for the Security Council, which is called Chapter 7 of the UN Charter. Under Chapter 7, the Security Council can declare a threat to peace or security in the world, and then decide on actions that are supposed to be binding. I'm saying supposed to because in this current system of global governance, and it's still nation states still carry a lot of weight. But so basically, there is a way for the UN Security Council to impose measures that can be diplomatic, economic, or anything to affect change. In the past, it's only or mainly been used for wars, humanitarian crises, and so on. The role of the Security Council being to maintain peace and security primarily. But we all know climate change is a threat to peace and security because it's a threat to the whole world, to our very existence. And so it hasn't been tried, and this is one of the things that we're trying to bring forward. It's an approach that just has not been tapped into. But if the Security Council declares a threat to peace and declares a global climate emergency, they will have to take decisions and propose measures that states will then have to implement. So on the second part of the question, does the UN still have the power to change states' agenda? Theoretically, yes. Then we hope that a lot of states as well will want to change their agendas. If they see that the whole world is moving forward as one, that they won't be the dumb country in the back staying behind pretending that nothing is happening. But then this is also where having a local presence is very important, because we need to make sure that people hold those countries to account and continue to ask for change and continue to demand that they implement the measures. It won't happen on its own. I mean, I hope it will, but I don't think it will.
So the short answer is yes.
Sorry, I get very excited about legalistic topics, and so I can go on for a long time.
The short answer is that the Security Council has binding power on the states, so they can expel them if needed, if like the extreme ratio. I really like Martin's comment. Is in Italian, but we translate it. He will create 600 emails to bomb the ministries. That's the spirit.
We'll get 600 people as well to come and email and sign, so that we actually also have real weight behind the petition.
Exactly. So, I mean, this what we're going to do from the 1st of February, and we really need help. So, if anyone wants to help us collecting signatures on the ground, creating a local team to do so, we just need your help. As we said before, we have now 14, 15 teams that are ready to take action. We would be super happy to have even more.
And they're being created at the moment, So to tell you a bit more, because we got also a few questions on Instagram ahead of the live of what it means to create a team. It's not a crazy time commitment, or it's not something that's going to ruin your social life forever, The idea being, at the moment, we need to collect signatures. Doing it online is the first step, so please share the petition that is on the website. Apart from sharing it, send it individually to your friends and family, make sure they sign. It's important, and it can actually have a real impact. As we saw, we already have one country that answered, so please help. But then there's the second step, which is actually going out and going beyond our own networks to collect signatures, to speak to people, to make sure they sign. And for this, we asked to have 1 or 2 people at first per city that can go together. It's more fun if you're not alone. With a pen and the paper we provide, and we have a training before, so you know how to do it and so on, to go and collect the signatures, to add weight to the issue, and to make sure that we actually lobby countries into affecting change. So you have a direct role to play in it. It's really cool that St. Vincent and the Grenadines already answered. It's far from enough. We need to make sure that this is tabled and that it's tabled soon. And so we need more people, we need more weight, and we need more local campaigners.
Exactly. So this is what we're doing. What are the next steps in our little agenda, Colombe?
It's a call to action, which I just did, which is please join. Make sure, send it to your grandmother, send it to your friends, send it to your colleagues, send it to your neighbors, show it to people on the bus when you go to work, to school, to whatever you go to. The fact of the matter is, only by uniting and only by becoming active, we can change things.
Yeah.
And beyond it being a nice thing to do, we need, it's urgent. We can't just wait for others to do it. We have to do it ourselves. We've seen what waiting does, nothing good. So we need to do more.
I really like the comment of Kevin on Facebook.
Sorry, we're moving stuff around to be able to see the different screens.
So say that it's really cool that we are working on climate change and gender equality, and only real representation of women in politics can have effect on the rest of the society. So we are gonna keep on pushing, Kevin. If you wanna push with us, obviously we are really happy. But yes, we truly believe in that. We truly believe that the only solutions is actually citizens getting together across continents, across countries, across cultures, across any division, and work for solutions, especially to these huge global problems. I think that now, as I've said in every event I've been to for now, like I think that what really embodies what we're trying to do is that feeling that you have when you hear about global tragedies, like the fires in Australia, or two semi-authoritarian leaders almost bringing the world in another global war. And these kind of things, and as a citizen, you're home, you're in front of your computer, you're reading the news, and you want to do something. You would love to be able to actually impact change and ensure that your voice is heard. And so far, we don't have any possibility to do so. We are completely, in the hand of our national leaders when we are lucky, if we are from a big country, or if not, we probably don't have any voice at all. And this must change, because we have the tools to actually organize as a global movement. We have the tools to have our voice heard, to make our voice heard. It's truly important that you guys and anyone that is interested jump on board, and actually start working together.
And so let's make sure we have other government than St. Vincent and the Grenadines that answer and that bring this up in the UN Security Council. Belgium starts on Saturday to be the chair. As a last word, we'll put a tool for you to email directly the Prime Minister and to push her to bring it up and to affect change in the UN Security Council. So sign it when it's up, go out, get signatures, send it to everyone you know. It works. We see it, we already had one answer from a government, which is huge, just by signing and getting people to sign petitions. We have 14 other people in the Security Council to get to that have not answered within 24 hours to our request. Unacceptable, I know. But so please get it around, get on the streets, and we'll be able to get the other governments to move on this issue.
Do it for us, do it for you, and also do it for your kids. That's all.
That's a good slogan.
It's a good slogan, but it's true. Like, we are not doing it only for us, we are doing it for the future of this planet. So this is all. I think that you have our contacts. If you're following us, you know where to find us. Email us, text us, do what you want if you have any doubt, any feedback, any idea, but get involved, because there's no time to waste, and this is really fun. We are really having a lot of fun. So we want to involve more people.
Have an amazing night, everyone, and don't hesitate to continue to ask us questions on social media. We'll answer to as many as possible.
Thank you so much.
Bye.